A CBC color presentation.
Professional football. This portion is brought to you by General Motors of Canada Limited, on behalf of GM dealers throughout Canada, who invite you to see and drive the new Mark of Excellence cars for 1970.
Two other occasions this season, the Toronto Argonauts have met the Ottawa Rough Riders, and they have been great games. We are anticipating the same type of game this afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Tom McKee, and welcome to our CBC color coverage of the CFL in action. Bernie Filoni is with me, our expert analyst. And Bernie, first of all, let's talk about the weather situation, because although it isn't raining right now, it was raining for quite a bit through the night and again this morning. The tarp was on the field, but it's still pretty greasy down there. What effect is this going to have on the game?
I think it's going to have very little effect, Tom. It's going to be a passer's day, really. They know where they're going to throw the football. They know who they're going to throw it to. And the defense, naturally, it's not going to be quite as effective in covering these receivers. So I think you'll see a lot of passing today.
So the definite advantage is going with the quarterback this afternoon.
Well,
what about those two key people we have to worry about, or think about anyway? Dickie Moore for the Toronto Argonauts and Andy Walton. I think our camera is standing by. We can maybe take a look at both of these players in action.
Well, let's take a look first at Andy Walton. He's the Ottawa Rough Riders, number 10. 5 feet 9 inches tall, 180 pounds, played last year with the Montreal Alouettes, 8 games, had a very small rushing average of 3.2 yards, and is a recent cut of the Chicago Bears this year. He's going to be filling in for the injured Vic Washington. The injured Dave Ramey, and here's number 30, going to be filling in for him. That's Dickie Moore of the Argonauts. Dickie is 6 feet, 205 pounds, and he comes from Western Kentucky. Has good speed, and Cahill says he may not be completely fit for this game, but he's ready. Danny Nicolak, the nominee for the Canadian Football Awards this year, is going to be playing against another nominee defensively. Danny Nicolak is the offensive tackle for the Argonauts. He's 6'4", 250 pounds, and he'll be against Billy Joe Booth, number 65, who is 6 feet, 240 pounds from Louisiana State, and really Mr. Mean Guy with the Ottawa Rough Riders. And this should be a great afternoon between those two people. Tom Johansson, number 12, 6 feet. He's from Denmark. He's 170 pounds, and he's a soccer-style place kicker like Ted Jarrell, and he really puts the foot into the football. Bill Van Berkeley, the punter for the Ottawa Rough Riders. Here he is working out a quarterback, just coming back off an injury, and he'll be doing the kicking again for the Rough Riders.
Well, Bernie, both these teams have lost key people in their running backfield. I wonder what would happen, though, say if they lost a quarterback. I'm thinking specifically, would you rather lose Dave Ramey or Tom Wilkinson? Kind of a tough question in a way.
It is a tough question. The Argonauts would probably be a little bit better than the Rough Riders if they lost Tom Wilkinson. They have Frank Cosentino, who can go in there and do a very capable job and has been doing so all year. Consequently, if the Rough Riders lost Jackson, Bill Van Berkeley is not the quarterback that Cosentino is, and I think they would suffer a greater loss than the Argonauts.
This points out a very important position that a quarterback plays, and look at what has happened in Hamilton with Joe Zuger. Do you think they might have had some difference there in the games that Zuger had been in?
Very possibly, because Joe Zuger was just coming into the point where he was understanding that offense and feeling it. He was just really becoming a quarterback.
Okay, Bernie, in talking about injuries and how they affect players, some have to retire even, like Dave Mann. Although Don Chevrier, who is our play-by-play broadcaster, And I learned before the game that there's some talk that Dave Mann might have been playing in this game or will be playing sometime in the future.
It was the best rumor of the day before the game, and this morning, too. It just didn't work out. There was talk that Aldridge might be dropped. He, of course, had a hand operated on. You'll see him today during the game with a big casing around the left hand. But he's playing, and so the Argonauts have 14 imports, Aldridge likely being number 14. Mann not out of retirement just yet. Thornton likely will do the punting again. Johansson, the field goal man for the Toronto Argonauts. But the big changes are in the backfield, as you said. With Ramey out, it's Dickie Moore for Toronto. And with Washington out for Ottawa, it is Andy Walton. And curiously, Walton's under more pressure because the Rough Rider coaching staff says they're still shopping. He's here to play today, but no guarantee he'll go beyond today. It all depends on how well he checks out against Toronto. So the Argonauts and the Rough Riders are all set. We'll be ready for our national anthem and the opening kickoff after this message.
Not too long ago, cars that looked and rode like this one looks and rides were called limousines and were within the reach of only the very rich. Now they're called Chevrolets. This is the 1970 Chevrolet Impala. It has things even those limousines might have envied. Protective steel beams built right to the doors. One of the best engines in the business. A 250 horsepower turbo-fired 350 V8. And you can order a 4-speaker stereo tape system that hides inside the radio. A radio antenna that hides inside the windshield. Not long ago, cars like this were called limousines. Now they're called Chevrolets. And almost everybody can afford one.
So we are just about set for the third meeting of the year, the final regular season confrontation between the Rough Riders and the Argonauts. These teams, as every fan knows, have produced two of the most exciting CFL games in 1969. And although backfield speed is absent on both sides, with Ramey and Washington hurt, it still should be a classic battle between the Riders and the Argonauts. The weather has been a matter of concern. It is not raining at the present time, but light occasional rain is forecast throughout the afternoon. That field covered still shows some wet spots, and the field may come into play very prominently here as the footing may be greasy, especially in the center field area. The temperature right now is 42 at game time, and they're saying it'll go as high as 50. Very little wind factor. The wind's out of the southwest at 5 to 10 miles an hour. And again, a capacity crowd in excess of 27,000. And they include from Toronto more than 1,200 Argonaut fans who come up to see this game firsthand. Those of you watching with us on television, we sincerely hope you enjoy it. It means if the Argonauts win, a tie for first place, and there's the mode of transportation that brought those many Argonaut fans into Ottawa this afternoon. If Ottawa wins, they will clinch first place. And so it goes right down to the final weekend, possibly, if Toronto can win their first game from the Rough Riders here in 1969. Today, because of the presence of the new U.S. ambassador at Lansdowne Park, Mr. Adolf Schmidt, they will be playing both the Canadian national anthem and the American national anthem to get this game underway. The scores in the previous two games, 25-23. Here in Ottawa in their first meeting, 34-27. A week later, September the 20th, in Toronto, both for the Rough Riders, of course. Next Saturday, Montreal will be in Toronto for the closing game of the season, and the Ottawa Rough Riders wind up with their 14th game against the Tiger Cats in Hamilton. CFL action tomorrow has Hamilton playing in Montreal. So we are just about set finally for the singing of the Canadian and American anthems.
Washington gone, and there is our friend Buchanan. Washington gone. Margene Atkins represents the deep threat for the Ottawa Rough Riders, and the man the writers will have to watch very carefully is Bill Simons out of the Toronto backfield. The coverage may vary, we understand, on Atkins. It may vary from zone to man, and there could be a change with Jimmy Dye taking over. Watching Margene Atkins, as Jim Tomlin had done that job the first 2 times these teams met. The Rough Riders getting set to kick off to the Argonauts, but before they do, there'll be a ceremonial kickoff on the newly chosen Miss Ottawa Rough Rider 1969, 18-year-old Pamela Whiting. Tom, how'd you like to analyze that style?
Very good. I think that Ed Harrington was looking at the girl instead of the ball on that play. You can't blame him for that. Here it is. Now let's see, Bernie.
There's the instant replay for you. Slow motion and all.
Must have been the ball holder, I would think.
He was holding the ball on the wrong side.
That's right.
Argonauts have Tomlin stationed with Thorpe on the goal line. Dickie Moore up near the 15 for Don Sutherland's opening kickoff. And here it is. Tomlin. Danny Deaver knocked him off balance, and he came to rest at the 25-yard line. Got it back 15 yards, the ball at the 24.
There goes Deaver.
Bobby Taylor, number 24, comes to the right. Simons, 33, set wide left. 19, Wilkinson is the quarterback. Moore set behind him, now in motion. Simons trying to make sure, in case they rule that's a free ball. It is ruled an incomplete pass, so the Argonauts will be second down. It's still 10 from the 24 as Simons was rather badly overthrown by Wilkinson.
Bernie, they were mixed up there, weren't they, in the backfield? Looked like it from here.
Well, that was a screenplay that they were trying to get off there, Tom, and it was overthrown to Bill Simons. Had that ball been there, Bill Simons had a lot of running room and plenty of blockers.
Second and 10. Simons has 4 yards at the 28, but that will be 6 shy of the first down. Gene Gaines, 22, and Bill Van Berkeley, number 15, the Rough Rider tacklers. And Dick Thornton, number 25, comes in to become the Argonaut punter. We mentioned on the pregame portion of our program, there was thought that Dave Mann might suddenly come out of retirement, but they decided against that, at least for today. Billy Cooper at the 50. And he lost 2 yards back to the 48-yard line where Paul Marco, number 76, applied the first tackle. That punt by Thornton traveled only 32 yards, and from their own 48, the Ottawa Rough Riders have their hands on the ball for the first time today with a first down. We are just in the second minute of play at Lansdowne Park. Tomlin, the new back, is number 10. He's set just left. Adkins wide left, 73. Tucker on the right side with Ronnie Stewart. And Jim Mankins, the fullback, got across the 50-yard line for a gain of 3 to 4. Oh, Balasuk cut him down. It's a 4-yard gain. 2nd and 6 to come for the Rough Riders. That's the 52 their own. Tucker, 26 now, going right. 71 is Tom Pullen, the tight end. 12, of course, Russ Jackson. Ed Learn defending on Stewart. Rough Riders get a first down.
Take a look at that play. It looked to me like Ed Learn was running through, and it could be what I thought was a very good defensive play. However, you can't touch that offensive receiver in any way while that ball is in the air. And perhaps Ed was in a little too fast.
I think I said number 10 was Tomlin. He played with Tomlin last year, but Andy Walton's the new Rough Rider back and has the ball. At the 45-yard line, a gain of 3.5. Pete Martin, number 77, made the stop. Second down and 7 to come from the Toronto 45 for the Rough Riders. A scoreless game in the 3rd minute now in Ottawa. Dye covering Margene Atkins on the right side. Tomlin watching Tucker. Tucker was overthrown at the 35-yard line as Jackson hurried his toss. It runs to 3rd and 7 for the Rough Riders from the 45. Argonauts will send back 32 Mike Eben and 34 Jerry Sternberg for the expected 3rd down punt. They're stationed back in the goal area. Van Berkeley, number 15, is the Rough Rider punter. Mike Eben returns to the 12-yard line. Tom Pullen, number 71, down there to meet him. 40-yard punt and a 7-yard return.
Don, these two clubs are very evenly matched. They have each played 12 games this season. Ottawa has a total offense of 372 points. The Toronto Argonauts, 375. Toronto has slightly the better defensive record, 242 points against, as compared with the Rough Riders, 261. But, of course, Ottawa in ahead, 2 points ahead of Toronto, 20 points to 18.
Here is Wilkinson now with a first down call from the Argonaut 12. Taylor didn't make a move. That ball was underthrown at his knees or below. And Wilkinson twice now on those short swings has tried to catch his backs. Overthrew one, Simons, and now has underthrown Bobby Taylor. There's a timeout on the field with 11:05 to play in the first quarter. The score, Toronto nothing, Ottawa nothing.
This is Monte Carlo from 1970.
Relax, Chevrolet dealers. This is one of ours.
How do you like it?
When you buy your first new car,
Honey.
get style and go and great new features, but get deep down quality too. In cars from General Motors, the only ones with body by Fisher. That's not a claim, that's a fact. And it's one reason why more people who start with this mark stay with this mark, car after car.
GM Mark of Excellence.
Gentleman there with the glasses is Dr. Fred Davies of the Rough Rider medical staff, who recommended the surgery on Vic Washington after his injury in Winnipeg. Argonauts come to second down from the 12-yard line. Still 10 to go. Moore at the 25-yard line or near it will have the first down, bowling over one of the officials as he went. The officiating staff today, Harry Ross is the referee, Seymour Wilson, Jim King, Bud Wiley, and Floyd Cooper are working with him. And at the 24, where they spot the ball, Wilkinson and the Argonauts have a first down. There is no score as yet. Leads the charge on Wilkinson and throws him for a loss back at the 16-yard line. Place the ball near the 17, so it'll be -7 and 2nd and 17 to come for the Argonauts. Campbell, 54, and Lehman, 41, with a good rush against Wilkinson. 65 is Billy Joe Booth, the left defensive end for the Rough Riders. Jim Kane, 52, is playing right tackle. Ed Joyner, the other defensive end. Hit by Don Southern at the original line of scrimmage, the 24, and so it is now 3rd and 10 for Toronto as Even came in on the last play. .23 is Cooper, and 20 are Dern waiting back at the Ottawa 45. Thornton's punt to Cooper. Markle again downfield to make contact after a 36-yard kick. That dropping of Wilkinson, the play previous, was the first time, Art Darch, our spotter points out, in 3 games between these two that the Rough Riders have dropped an Argonaut quarterback, Wilkinson or Cosentino, for a loss. The big thing the Rough Rider defense has done, though, is pick up 5 pass interceptions in those 2 previous games, and the Argonauts have yet to pluck one of Russ Jackson's throws out of the air. First down from the 51. Ed Harrington hitting Ron Stewart high, and then some follow-up tackling, and Stewart will lose 3 back to the 48-yard line, and the Riders are 2nd and 13. There's Mel Prophet with the curly locks, Tom, down below the helmet. Number 26, Whit Tucker, moves right with Pullen 71 and Stewart 11. And he will be within a yard of the first down. They needed 13 on second down, and Russ got about 12. Frank Clare disputing where they spotted the ball down. It will be a good yard short. In the last game in Toronto, Jackson, in 10 carries, ran for 95 yards, and many of them were plays such as the last one, right up the middle when the Argonaut pass defense backed off to cover.
And they give him a 3-man rush, and of course he has a lot of time to throw that ball, but when they do give him a 3-man rush, it opens up that middle in the run, and he will take all the advantage that he possibly can, and all the yardage too when that happens.
Third down, and with Jackson still quarterbacking from the huddle, the Riders are going. No score as yet. 7 minutes and 45 seconds to play in the first quarter. Keeping for what appears to be the Ottawa first down. And it is a first down at the 47-yard line of the Argonauts. While neither club has moved the ball dramatically, the Rough Riders have certainly done more with it than the Argonauts in the early minutes here. With a collision with Mike Wadsworth the moment he got that ball, and they will mark him for a loss on the play at the 50-yard line. The loss is going to be 3. It will be 2nd and 13. Jim Mankins has a bad knee as well. In fact, he's a pretty game football player. In Winnipeg, he played with tremendous swelling on the knee. It is still not any better. But Mankins, the lone remaining backfield threat the Riders had with the injury to Washington, is staying in there. 73, Margene Atkins moves to the left side. Now Tomlin's covering him. The
pass for Atkins into the area covered by Tomlin, 23, and Thornton, 25. A little low, and it's third down and 13 from the Argonaut 50 for the Rough Riders. Number 34, Jerry Sternberg, and number 32, Mike Eben, drop back to the vicinity of the 5-yard line for Van Berkelio's third down punt. With Van Berkelio back in today, Jay Roberts becomes the 14th import. Eben gets back to the 17-yard line. Met there by Roger Fredericks, and the Argonauts will start there after the 45-yard punt and a return of 13. No score, 5 minutes and 55 seconds to play in the first quarter.
Ronnie Stewart carried the ball once there. Speculation is in some quarters that he will be carrying it more this afternoon. What do you think?
We'll talk about that in a little while, Tom.
Very little room for Moore to operate. He got maybe a yard. Marshall Shirk, the left tackle, just closed that hole off immediately. And the 1-yard gain leaves Toronto 2nd and 9 at the 18. Taylor and Thorpe, 24 and 20, move left. Simons. Caught by Poirier at the 36. The gain was 18 yards, and Simons earned every yard of it.
It was one of the most exciting plays so far in this ball game, Don, and it was a delayed pass, really, to Simons, a check valve out to the side, and Simons just picked his way up the field. It looked as if he would have stayed to the outside, he could have just gone a long way, but look at him dance around in here, jump back and forth, and he almost breaks it anyway, except for Joe Poirier.
First down from the 36. Simons again off the right side, crosses the 40-yard line. Billy Joe Booth has him at the 42. That'll be a 6-yard gain, 2nd and 4. Simons has improved with each game from, say, the first part of September. He's getting his speed back in that drive that won him the Outstanding Player Award in Canada in 1968. Thorpe for a first down across the 50-yard line, hit by Gene Gaines, number 22, as they held Thorpe in the backfield with the delay pass. He broke it for first down yardage.
What Wilkinson is doing there, he's getting a fast back in an open field situation and letting him run with it, and that's exactly what Thorpe did, and he almost broke this one.
Nine-yard gain puts the ball at the Argonaut 51, first down. There's a marker thrown. The interception nearly made by Van Berkelio. And the indication is illegal interference against the Ottawa Rough Rider defensive backs. Markle was the intended receiver, and Van Berkelio, in his anxiety to get that ball, crawled over him, and they called interference, and it gives Toronto a big first down at the 36.5-yard line.
There's the interference call, and it's hard to call those particular plays because the ball is in the air. When the ball is in the air, it's anybody's ball. It's a free ball, and you have to fight for it, but they're calling them very close down there today.
It was Taylor. The offense was committed again. Simons has improved with each game from, say, the first part of September. He's getting his speed back in that drive that won him the Outstanding Player Award in Canada in 1968. Thorpe for a first down across the 50-yard line, hit by Gene Gaines, number 22, as they held Thorpe in the backfield with the delay pass, and he broke it for first down yardage.
What Wilkinson is doing there, he's getting a fast back in an open field situation and letting him run with it, and that's exactly what Thorpe did, and he almost broke this one.
Nine-yard gain puts the ball at the Argonaut 51, first down. There's a marker thrown. Interception nearly made by Van Berkelio. And the indication is illegal interference against the Ottawa Rough Rider defensive backs. Paul Markle was the intended receiver, and Van Berkelio, in his anxiety to get that ball, crawled over him, and they called interference, and it gives Toronto a big first down at the 36.5-yard line.
There's the interference call, and it's hard to call those particular plays because the ball is in the air. When a ball is in the air, it's anybody's ball. It's a free ball, and you have to fight for it, but they're calling them very close down there today.
It was Taylor. The offense was committed again. Wilkinson's receivers were not in position to make a play for the ball. There's a timeout on the field with 2:43 to play in the first quarter. The score is Toronto nothing and Ottawa nothing.
Bill Emerton, only man anywhere to run over 100,000 miles, 4 times around the world, setting long-distance records on 4 continents. Now, Oldsmobile's own unique long-distance runner, the Positive Valve Rotator, a new design concept to help keep every rocket V8 engine running better, longer, exclusive on the new Oldsmobiles. 16 valve rotators rotating as they run, equalizing valve action so performance stays smoother through many extra thousands of miles of running and running and running. Once again, young mobile thinking sets the pace in engineering innovation. Positive valve rotators. Only Oldsmobile has them. See the new Delta 88 and all the great new long-distance runners from Oldsmobile at your Olds dealers. Oldsmobile. Escape from the ordinary.
That is the time we have remaining in this first quarter in a scoreless game. The Argonauts' first serious bid to get over the goal line, broken up by the Bill Van Berkelio end zone pass interception. That brings the ball to the 10, and here come the Riders, first down. Walton slipped as he made contact. There's a marker indicating offside against Toronto on the play.
That's the 6th interception that Ottawa has had against the Toronto Argonauts in the 2 games plus this quarter. They have played against each other this season, and of course for the Rough Riders it couldn't have come at a better time.
Harry Ross, the referee, with a 5-yard walk for offside against Toronto, and the Rough Riders are now 1st and 5 from the 15. Speaking of interceptions, Don Southern has 10 for the year, just 1 shy of the CFL single-season record. Ed Learn of the Argonauts has 8. John Wydraney of the Eskimos also 10. The scooter, Ronnie Stewart, for a first down of the 26.
Well, Tom, there you were talking about a little bit earlier that there was indications that Stewart was going to be running the ball more in this ball game. That's the 2nd time he's had his hands on the ball in the first quarter, and normally he only gets it once or twice a ball game, so maybe your indication is right.
The gain was 11. Jackson all by himself at the 48-yard line for a gain of 22.
This could be a planned play. There's a blitz, and it could be just one of those trap draws, quarterback draws. But watch number 15, Ed Learn. This is what happens when quarterbacks get out. They really go after him. Now he comes in.
Ouch. Ooh, that
has to hurt.
Yeah. Jackson Birney has carried 3 times in this game for 37 yards, so he's the top rusher. 1 minute and 15 seconds remaining in the first quarter. No score. First down, Rough Riders between the 48 and the 49. Walton gets about 4. Jimmy Dye, number 10, made the tackle. While Walton is quick, he's a different type of back than Vic Washington. And, of course, this changes much of what the Rough Riders have done or tried to do all season. The flag is up. The clock showing 30 seconds and moving. Too far for Ron Stewart. Thornton fell on the play, and then Learn came back to cover up along with Ron Arends. But even with Stewart's speed, he just couldn't catch up with that Jackson throw. So it's 3rd down and 6.5 to go for the Rough Riders now. And Van Berkelio will come in to kick to 32, Mike Eben, and 34, Jerry Sternberg. They're standing back at the Argonaut 10. Good kick. Sternberg at the 11-yard line, hit by Danny Deaver and Tom Pullen downfield. As the first quarter ends, at the end of quarter 1, the score is Toronto 0 and Ottawa 0. We'll return to CFL action after this message.
Introducing our tough one, the 1970 Chevelle SS396. It's a great performer, except for one thing. No one gives it a chance to perform. Not that we can blame them. After all, there's a lot to admire about the new Chevelle SS396.
Your car?
Hey, what's that? No dumb.
A no-nonsense cowl induction hood you can order that actually feeds in extra air when you accelerate. Functional hood pins.
Bobby pins.
No, these aren't Bobby pins, hood pins, baby, and they're for real hood pins.
What's that?
This. Hey, 2 pipes. Gun it for me, will you, buddy? Oh, now, come on.
These aren't belted fiberglass tires, aren't they?
Yes.
Consider this fair warning. When you order your Chevelle SS396 at your Chevy dealer's sports department, expect to draw a crowd, no matter where you take it.
As we look at Dick Thornton there at the Argonaut bench, Bernie, both these quarterbacks have been throwing deep today.
Yes, I'm a little surprised at the inaccuracy on both clubs. They're throwing that long bomb rather than throwing the short pass. And as we talked earlier in the game, the type of field and conditions are ideal for a passing game, and especially that short passing game.
Let's see if they'll adjust in the second quarter. Total offense in the first, 51 yards Ottawa, 50 Toronto. First down play from the 11. Jim Thorpe cleaned out linebacker Ken Lehman, but they contained Simons for short yardage around the 13-yard line.
Let's take a look at that block by Thorpe, number 20 on 41 Lehman. Here it coming up right now. A beautiful block. Well, of course, Ken Lehman, number 41, didn't stop there. He's back up and after Bill Simons.
2nd and 8 from the 13. And Lehman with the rush on Wilkinson. That is the second time they have dropped the Argonaut quarterback in behind the line of scrimmage in today's game. And that goes all the way back to the 1.5-yard line from where the Argonauts are 3rd down and 20 to go. "20 is Ardern, 23 Cooper for Dick Thornton's 3rd down punt. Out to Ardern at the 43. Markle takes him down right there, and the Rough Riders have great field position now, having contained the Argonauts. Throw them for a loss on the charge by Lehman. That was a 41-yard punt. And Ottawa starts out at the 42 of the Argonauts, 1st down.
With Russ Jackson coming back on the field, he needed 43 yards to hit the 5,000 mark for carries, and a career total going into this game. He has made 37, so very, very possibly he could break that 5,000 mark on this sequence of plays.
Walton got away from Luster, then was contained by Pete Martin. Ed Learn following up at the 39-yard line. That's a 3-yard advance. 2nd and 7 to come for the Rough Riders. We have no score early in the second quarter. 2 minutes gone. 70 is Mike Bloom. 65, Big Vernon Van Oy, the left defensive end. 77 Martin, 27 Marv Luster, the linebackers on the left side now. Martin made the tackle on Jackson after Harrington blew right by. He was the first man through. That'll be a loss of 5.
There's Jackson, and he's looking deep again. As we mentioned, I'm surprised. He's trying to find that deep receiver, and he had Stewart down very deep, but didn't have time to get that ball off. It's a hard-hitting football game out here today.
And Berkeley will kick from midfield. Sternberg will give the Argonauts a 1st down near the 20-yard line. They'll put it down at the 19.
Ken Lehman is getting to the outside fast, and he's breaking through on Wilkinson on those short semi-rollouts. One thing the Rough Riders have done for this ball game defensively is gone into an odd-man set, a 5-man front, and I think this is confusing Wilkinson.
That last punt by Van Berkelio was only 26 yards, so the Argonauts on the exchange got out of a deep hole there at the 19. Ricky Moore contained by Wayne Giardino for a gain of 3 at the 22. They'll be 2nd and 7. Whit Tucker at the Ottawa bench with center Jerry Selinger. Simons is on the left side. Taylor wide right. Mike Evans at flanker now. Even has the reception in the 1st down country at the 40-yard line. They put it down to the 39. He beat Campbell and Gaines, who followed up with the Ottawa tackles. There's a timeout on the field with 11:07 to play in the second quarter. The score, Toronto 0, Ottawa 0.
Meet Everett and Mabel Ferguson. They've traveled a lot. As a matter of fact, they're just coming back from a vacation now with CP Air. Good trip, Everett? Everett and Mabel went to Amsterdam first, and then they really did Europe from there. Copenhagen. Munich. Watch it, Everett. Paris. Ah, Paris. Spain. The Costa del Sol. Where's Mabel? Oh. Lisbon. And then they went to Athens, Rome, and then home. The fast, friendly way, CP Air. Wherever you go on vacation, ask your travel agent to book you CP Air. Or call us. We'll put you in the picture. CP Air, another way Canadian Pacific serves you.
Well, there's Dave Mann, who might have played today. That was one of the thoughts Leo Cahill had, but he's back in his coaching capacity with the Argonaut team, the kicking coach here this afternoon. That last game, Tom, 17 yards, doubles the Argonaut pass offense today. It had 17 before that completion. First down from the 39. Simon. Still going at the 48-yard line. They'll mark him back a yard or so. Gene Gaines and Barry Ardern tackling.
You know, when Dave Mann retired a while ago, or supposedly retired, Tom Wilkinson said apparently his right leg is just as old as the rest of it. You don't suppose he's found the fountain of youth someplace, do you?
Bathing in it. Second down and 2 yards to go now from the 47-yard line. Paul Markle, and they rule that is a catch. At the 52-yard line, Joe Poirier, number 17, covering.
Take a look at that catch. It was thrown low and behind, but it was definitely a reception.
Jim Thorpe came in on this play to replace Mike Eben as Cahill is juggling his flankers. Eben and Thorpe, Thorpe and Eben. Dickie Moore. Don Southern took Moore's feet out from under him at the 37-yard line, and again, that's an Argonaut first down as they now start to move the ball on some short to medium pass areas.
Dickie Moore seems to be in pretty good shape, Bernie, although Leo Cahill said that he wasn't in the best of shape. Here comes another play, and Mike Eben coming in. He's come in 4 times in this game, and on 50% of those occasions, the ball has been thrown to him. Let's see what happens here.
Wilkinson was tagged and goes down. Giardino, 21, Joyner, 63, and Marshall Shirk, 53. All in to get a piece of the Argonaut quarterback away back at the 52.5 of Ottawa. That is a loss of 15 yards. They're second and 25 from there. And the third time the Rider defense has dropped Wilkinson. Profit against Don Southern, and Southern contains him at the 50 for a short gain, and it'll be third down and more than 20 yards to go for Toronto. Wilkinson seems very unsteady, off balance, although even before he's hit, Bernie.
Well, I'm confused as to the type of plays that are being sent in, because they are they are a long type of a pattern.
Thornton's better punts. One of Billy Cooper's better runbacks. Profit and Nicolak made the tackles. A 40-yard kick by Thornton and a 15-yard return by Cooper. And at the 25, the Rough Riders start out in this scoreless game with a first down. We have 7:54 until halftime.
A telegram in from our friends in Sudbury. The final playoff game of the Northern Football Conference will be held tomorrow in Sudbury at 1 o'clock. The North Bay Tiger Cats play the Sudbury Spartans.
Jim Mackin's the fullback for about 3. Make it 2 as they rule his knee touchdown at the 27. 2nd and 8 to come. 71 is Tom Pullen. R.G. Atkins, the back of the huddle, number 73. Tipped as it left Russ Jackson's hand, I believe, by Vernon Van Oy, 65, whose standard practice, Tom, every play is to reach up as far as he can, and that's much higher than most people can.
Yeah, I think he reaches 3 yards.
The Rough Riders are 3rd down and 8 at the 27. 34 is Sternberg and 32 Mike Eben back at the 40 to 45. And Berkeley will set the punt. Cutting down Sternberg on a fine downfield tackle. And the Argonauts will start from the 52-yard line. That kick traveled only 31 yards. And so on the punting exchanges, the Riders certainly have no measure of superiority over Toronto.
Danny Deaver, number 30, I think they just point him in the right direction and tell him to run because he's always first down on the kickoffs and on the punts.
Came loose. I believe the whistle had gone. Bill Simons got a big block for number 66, Bob Hudspeth, as he swept the left side. And got as far as the 51 of the Rough Riders. They'll be 2nd and 7 from there. Marshall Shirk and Joe Poirier made the tackles. 6 minutes exactly now remaining until halftime. No score. Wilkinson, the Argonaut quarterback. Simons has the first down near the 46-yard line. Gene Gaines, number 22, dropped in for the Rough Riders. Simons has that great combination of speed and inside running strength and power. He can use either one equally well. Again, the telegraph line from the sidelines, even in for Thorpe. Wilkinson has been decked 4 times behind the line of scrimmage by the Ottawa defenders. That time at midfield represents a loss of 8 yards.
Bernie, what's going on down there?
Well, he had Mike Eben open down there, and Tom is just holding the ball too long. Wilkinson is running out there, and I think he just can't make up his mind as to where he wants to throw that football.
You saw while Bernie spoke the reaction of Leo Cahill to it all. Frank Cosentino may be warming up. Campbell. Knocked out of bounds by Dickie Moore at the 40-yard line. The ball deflected on the interception and then caught by Jerry Campbell.
It's one of the big breaks of this scoreless football game. As Wilson pulls up and throws the ball is deflected, and Jerry Campbell picks it out of the air and makes a fine run back. And the Ottawa Rough Riders are in the best position they have been in this ball game.
It was Marshall Shirk who just got enough of the ball to make it possible for Campbell to intercept a few yards behind. From the 40. The Rough Riders are first down. Flag thrown. Walton. Ron Orange made the tackle after a 12-yard gallop. But we refer back to the marker throw. It is against Toronto and offside, obviously declined by the Rough Riders.
There's the offside, as you can see, on the right side of the defensive line.
Vernon Van Hoy. There is Frank Cosentino warming up for the Argonauts. First down. Jim Mackins into a traffic jam across the 25-yard line. That's a 3-yard gain. With 3 minutes and 16 seconds of play remaining in the first half, the second quarter, and it is still a scoreless game. For these two teams, we hardly expected no scoring at this stage. Jackson. Inside the 10-yard line. Lester met him there.
It's always said you can't give that guy any running room whatsoever because he'll take it.
There is a timeout on the field with 2:47 to play in the second quarter. The score is Toronto nothing and Ottawa nothing.
If you were going to take a trip and you phoned our reserve room service before you left, you'd stay at Le Chateau Champlain in Montreal. You'd stay at the Royal York in Toronto. And you'd stay at the Banff Springs Hotel in the Rockies. No matter where you're going, a phone call to CP Hotel's reserve room gets you a great room with great meals and great service. Not only in any one of the 11 CP hotels across Canada, but also in any of over 20 affiliated hotels in Canada, the U.S., or Europe. CP Hotels Reserve Room. Our way of getting you a lot of hotel in a lot of cities with one simple phone call. CP Hotels, another way Canadian Pacific serves you.
Well, Tom Wilkinson has certainly had his share of problems and pressure from the Rider defense. Russ Jackson has accounted for 53 of the entire 88 yards the Riders have rushing. And that last gallop was good for 16 down to the 8. And that's where the Riders are first and touchdown to go. Trying to throw back to Jackson. Had no chance. And Harrington was there as a welcoming committee for him.
That's the only thing you don't see Jackson do is kick the ball. That's the first time I've ever seen him kick.
The Riders have not completed a pass in today's game. That was the 5th attempt, and the 5th time they have come up empty. So it's been a strange game in many respects. Second and touchdown from the 8. Jackson spots the opening. And is down near the 1-yard line. Balasag preventing a touchdown for the Argonauts.
Jackson was hit very hard on that play. He got up, and the old pro that he is, he'll stay in there. But he was shaken up, I'm sure. I can remember bumps like that when you try to get down in the end zone, and it's tough.
There's an infraction on that last play against Toronto. It's going to measure half the distance that goes from the 8 to the 4. Here's Harry Ross with the offside indication. So rather than take the ball third and touchdown to go on the 1, they get the 4-yard line. This gives them 2 chances as opposed to the 1 they'd have had, but they'd be 3 yards closer in. So it's all a matter of how you look at it. Russ Jackson has chosen to go this route. We have 2:17 remaining in the second quarter. No score, but one certainly pending by the Rough Riders at this point. Gene Atkins with the score on the first completed pass for the Rough Riders in 6 attempts in today's game.
Jimmy Dye, number 10, thought he had this ball zeroed in. You'll see him as he plays in front of Atkins, and if he intercepts this ball, he's gone all the way. He just misjudged it.
For Olio, that is touchdown number 9. He's only 1 behind Tommy Joe Coffey, who leads in the Eastern Conference.
Don Southern makes it a 7-0 lead for the Rough Riders with 2 minutes and 12 seconds until halftime. And it took the better part of 28 minutes of football to produce a score between these usually explosive teams. Tom Wilkinson, who's a starting quarterback, number 1 quarterback for the Argonauts, has been hit 4 times by the Rough Rider defensive line. And Frank Cosentino for a while warmed up. Now we'll watch and see if Cosentino may be the choice to go in at quarterback after the Argonauts receive the Ottawa kickoff. Cosentino with the jacket off, rubbing his hands, appears ready as we look at the Argonaut bench. Here's Southern's kickoff. Thorpe. He was tackled from behind there by Barry Ardern and almost broke it.
And Cosentino is going in place of Wilkinson at quarterback, so we'll see if he can get something going. 2 minutes and 5 seconds remaining in the first half.
Thorpe returned the kickoff some 38 yards. Number 11, Frank Cosentino. A perfectly thrown ball, but Thorpe was under double coverage back at the 30-yard line. And the Rider defenders knocked it away. Barry Ardern made the big defensive play.
Thorpe with his good speed, it was covered very well defensively, and the ball was thrown very well also. Bordering on an interference call right there, but it was a good defensive play.
Cosentino threw that ball with a lot of authority for his first play in the game.
It was right on the mark. 2nd and 10, 45-yard line. He's back to the 45-yard line as that hitting gets tough at the Argonaut bench.
Campbell made a great effort to intercept this pass. You watch him jump right in front of the intended receiver. Coming back in, taking it away from Prophet. Prophet thought he had that ball, and he makes a fine run back, too.
One minute and 42 seconds remaining. First down, 45-yard line. First down. Tom Pullen down to the 23 of Toronto. Thornton and Learn finally caught up with him as Pullen was the last man the Argo defense figured might take that pass. He was wide open. Leo Cahill must be wondering what he has to do to beat the Ottawa Rough Riders. Trailing 7-0, Riders threatening to add to that lead before the half. For Whit Tucker, touchdown. Until the 13-minute mark of the second quarter, we had no scoring. And in the last minute, less than a minute, the Rough Riders have struck for a pair of touchdowns, and Don Sutter now will attempt to make it a 14-0 game. Sudds makes good. Ottawa 14, Toronto nothing. 1:28 until halftime. That was Sutherland's 43rd convert of the year. He's missed only 4 all season.
Whit Tucker, in getting that pass for the touchdown, gives him 8 for the season. He is only 1 behind Margene Atkins.
Number 20 is Thorpe. 23, Tomlin, back for Sutherland's kickoff. The Rough Riders hold a brief team meeting before getting the ball away. Tomlin. And he is back to the 40-yard line. Jim Thorpe limping slightly after that play, but staying in. Now here comes Eben in for Thorpe. Return that time by Tomlin was 26 yards, and Thorpe, as you see, hobbles out to the Argonaut bench. Taylor, 24, and Eben both go right. Bobby Taylor, first down across the 50-yard line of the Rough Riders at the 49, 1 minute and 7 seconds left. Ed Harrington at the Toronto bench. Delay pass from Cosentino to Dickie Moore. Get back to about the 50.
There's the defense, the late defense that the Rough Riders go into. It's what they call a prevent defense, and that is don't let anybody get behind you.
Loss of 1.5 yards. Second down from the 51. 51 seconds on the clock. There's the flag. 14-0 Rough Riders. Incomplete. Bobby Taylor covered by Giardino, Ron Arends, and Ken Lehman following in. Or Joe Poirier, 17. Arends, of course, 17 for the opposite side. Left for a while last Sunday in the game with Hamilton that Arends thought he was a member of anybody's defensive backfield but his own when he was hit by Mitchell in the end zone. It broke the face guard right off his helmet, but he came around and is back in good health today. Thornton to punt to Ardern and Cooper. Cooper is down by Markle at the 13-yard line with 37 seconds left. The Rough Riders have a first down. That punt traveled 41 yards, and that has been around the average, 40 to 41 yards for the punters on both sides today. 65 is big Vernon Van Oy on the outside, the left side of the Argonaut defensive line. Ed Harrington, 54, is the opposite side. Wadsworth and Balisic play the middle. Luster now moves up, number 27. Jim Mankins to the 26-yard line, has a first down and then some. Jim Tomlin, number 23, made the tackle. 11 seconds left, barring a penalty. This would be the last play of the first half. Jim Dye intercepts. That ball is free. I'm not sure what they might have ruled, but it does not matter because the gun is sounded to end play in the first half. Bobby Taylor came off the bench to scoop up the loose fumble, and that would have caused all kinds of confusion had we had time to go on. The score is Ottawa 14 and Toronto nothing. We'll return with our halftime show after this message.
When you were 10, one of the things you wanted to be when you grew up was a truck driver. Well, we wonder if you could handle the job now. Smith Transport. They handle goods between the prairies and the Atlantic and even to the U.S. It's one of the most advanced trucking operations in the world. CP Transport is our workhorse, operating from as far south as you can get to as far north as you can drive. This one's wheeling mercury in steel flasks from northern B.C. Destination, New Jersey, USA. Now, how about this for a change? Radio-controlled dispatch system, electronic motor repair centers, computers, and this CP Express automated terminal in Toronto, one of a number we have to give us the most modern express terminals on the continent. Trucking has changed a lot since you were a kid, and so have we. Smith Transport, CP Express, CP Transport, trucking. Another way Canadian Pacific serves you.
Again, everybody, Tom McKee back at Lansdowne Park in Ottawa with our halftime show. You know, much interest in Canadian football is always shown American imports. But what about the reverse situation? Every year, more and more Canadians are leaving their homes in late August to make their way to the American campuses. And they are going there to play football.
One such person is Tony Gabriel from Burlington, Ontario, near Hamilton. Tony has been saying goodbye to his mother and friends for 3 years now and going to the States to play football. This season, he is a junior split end. He is 20 years old, stands 6 feet 4 inches tall, and weighs 209 pounds. Tony Gabriel's friend is Ed Phillips, also from Burlington. Ed is a defensive backfielder with Syracuse. Tony and Ed grew up together and now play college ball, room and study together. The boys travel by car down through the Niagara Peninsula and along the southern shore of Lake Ontario, a much shorter trip than for many of our Canadians playing in American colleges. Their destination? Syracuse, New York, one of the major research centers of the North American continent. It's a school that teaches just about everything from nursing to architecture, forestry to social work. Total number of students, undergraduate and graduate, full-time, part-time, men and women, is near the 20,000 mark. Syracuse University students come from all 50 states of the Union and 83 foreign countries. Tony Gabriel and Ed Phillips live in this room at the dormitory. And it's as regular a college student's room as you would see anywhere. This is the other side of a football player's life in college. Tony is going to Syracuse on a football scholarship. So I suppose you might say he is working his way through school. Besides football practices, which incidentally run all year long, Tony must keep up his marks. So it's study and practice, and then practice and study again. A sort of blending of brains and brawn complementing each other. In the classroom, Tony Gabriel's life is one of facts and figures. Tony is studying chemical engineering, the line of work he hopes to enter when his university education days and football playing years are over. When Tony first started to throw a football around in his hometown, he had no idea it might take him through to this classroom. He was spotted by the Hamilton Tiger Cats in a high school camp. And as so often happens, the Hamilton team then contacted the college, and after much scouting and screening, a scholarship was forthcoming. The day we filmed Tony in action was homecoming weekend at Syracuse. A record crowd of over 43,000 were in the stands. They, no doubt, were thinking of former great Syracuse stars like Jimmy Brown and, of course, the late Ernie Davis. Syracuse met Penn State, 5th ranked in the nation and a 12-point favorite. Canadian Tony Gabriel wears jersey number 88 and going into this game had caught 17 passes for 240 yards and 2 touchdowns. In his college career, Tony has a total of 45 receptions, just 7 short of Joe Zambathi's career mark of 52. And with every game, Gabriel comes closer to setting a new mark. Although this day, Syracuse used a running game, using Gabriel mostly as an effective decoy. This is the major leagues for football at the college level in North America, and it must be something of a great thrill for our Canadian player to be out there. Proof of the enormity of American college football is that Penn State has no less than 10 coaches on its staff. Syracuse isn't far behind with 9. They have coaches for literally every aspect of the game, and they are all specialists. The Orangemen of Syracuse list 72 players on their roster, and out of all those, Tony Gabriel must make his mark. So far, he has. What after these college days? Good news for Canadian fans. Tony is owned by the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
And I'm sure the Tiger Cats will use that star, too. By the way, the final outcome of that game with Penn State was 15-14 in favor of Penn State, but it was quite a thrill for those 43,000 people in the stands. The score here is Ottawa 14 and Toronto nothing, and we'll continue with our halftime show after this message.
When you go to your butcher, you expect fresh meat. Meat at the peak of its flavor, and keeping meat fresh means constant refrigeration. You know it, your butcher knows it, and we know it. So at CP Rail, we developed controlled temperature cars for fresh shipment of meats and other perishables. It's another way our specialized freight equipment works for you. CP Rail, another way Canadian Pacific serves you.
Canadian professional football. This portion brought to you by
Canadian Pacific. Serving you in so many ways.
This is the CBC Television Network.
this portion of Canadian professional football brought to you by Labatt's Brewers of 50 Ale, Canada's fastest growing ale, and Labatt's Blue, the true blue lager beer. The best in Canadian football from the best in Canadian beer.
The first reaction you have when you check the statistics of the first 30 minutes of this football game, it's a surprise that Toronto comes up with 9 first downs because they haven't seemed to be such a great threat. That total offense, by the way, for Toronto of 105 yards, it should be taken into consideration that Wilkinson lost 43 yards attempting to pass. Jackson has carried the ball 4 times for a total of 53, and that now puts him over that 5,000 mark. As a matter of fact, he has 5,010. Walton has carried 4 times for 23. Simons for Toronto has carried 6 times for 43 yards.
And in the passing game, Tucker, of course, that one catch with a touchdown, 23 yards, and Eben has caught 2 for 25 as far as the individual statistics are concerned. But the big story as far as the Ottawa Rough Riders is concerned are the 2 interceptions by Jerry Campbell. Both of those have gone on to touchdowns. The score is Ottawa 14 and Toronto nothing. And we'll continue with our halftime show after this message.
Enjoy yourself. Take 5 for 50 ale. Enjoy yourself. All right for 50 ale. If you should try a 50, there's one thing you'll understand. Good friends and fun and 50 go together hand in hand.
50 from Labatt's, the longest, coolest, most enjoyable refreshment that ever bent your elbow. No wonder Labatt's 50 is Canada's one and only enjoyment ale.
Enjoy yourself. Take 5 for 50 ale. Enjoy yourself. Revive with 50 ale. Labatt has brewed Big 50 just for you. Invite yourself, delight yourself. Let go yourself, let go yourself. Enjoy yourself, enjoy yourself. Take 5 for 50 ale. 50.
Bernie Filoni is with me now with a pocket full of videotape highlights. And Bernie, Wilkinson had a good deal of trouble in the first 1 3/4 quarters that he played. And as we pointed out in the statistics, he lost 43 yards attempting to pass. Now, he did have trouble sputtering around there in the first quarter and early in the game. What do you suppose was wrong?
Well, I think it was the type of defense that the Rough Riders had put up against it. They came up with a 5-man line, a 5-2 situation, really, and they put a blitz on him. We'll show that a little bit later.
Okay, that means he had to go to the running game. And watch this run by Simons. It looked like he was going to bust out all the way.
Well, actually, this is a pass, Tom. You see, he rolls to the left, and he comes back. He's caught, and he throws the ball to Simons on a what they call a little delay pattern or escape play. And Simons makes a fine run out of this. He picks up blocking, cuts backfield, and almost breaks this all away. He has a good chance to go. But Joe Poirier is the last man to get him, number 17, and does. This has been a very, very toughly played ball game, and breaks are going to decide what happens. And here's one big break, and I can't understand why Wilkinson threw this ball, but he just threw it down there, and it's intercepted by Van Berkelio. There was no there was 3 Ottawa people around and only 2, Taylor and Thorpe from the Argonauts, but they were a little bit out of the picture there. And Jackson, when he can't find anybody to throw the ball, he runs, and he runs hard, and he gets hit hard, real hard, by number 23, Tomlin. That has to hurt, those type of plays when you're running with the ball. But he comes back on the very next play, and he throws a sideline pass to Margene Atkins, number 73, who beats Jimmy Dye. And that's the first touchdown, and that resulted off one of the breaks, an interception by Campbell. And Campbell again comes into the picture with this interception of a Frank Cosentino pass. And it's a great effort because he's the outside linebacker this time. He comes across right in front of Prophet 75 and picks the ball off and makes a fine run back. He's hit hard. He looks like he stopped, but he staggers up again and picks up a few extra yards right there. And, of course, breaks. This resulted in one of the prettiest touchdown passes I've seen in a long while. This is what they call a corner pattern. And it's thrown to Whit Tucker, number 26, and watch how he breaks away from 23, Tomlin. Perfect play. So after this touchdown, it's 14 points, and the kickoff by Don Sutherland. And Thorpe has good speed, and he's a leapfrog here. As you'll see him jump over the pile and almost breaks it all the way up the center. Watch this jump.
High hurdles there.
High hurdles. So as we talked earlier, Tom, the thing that really stopped the Argonaut club was this blitz. And here's a full blitz on Tom Wilkinson, and he just doesn't have a chance, really, to get that ball off.
You think we'll see Wilkie back in the game for the second half, or do you think that Cahill is going to stay with Frank Cosentino?
Well, I think he'll probably come back in with Tom Wilkinson because Tom is his #1 quarterback, and probably after a few adjustments, and if Wilkinson can't do it, then he'll come back in with Cosentino.
Should be a great 30 more minutes of football. The score here is Ottawa 14 and Toronto nothing, and we'll return with the second half kickoff in just a moment.
When you're smiling, say Labatt's Blue, the beer that smiles with you. It's the true one, for you one, the lager that's true blue. Next time you order, just say Labatt's Blue, 'cause it's the lager with the taste that is true. So when you're smiling, say Labatt's Blue, the true blue lager beer.
The great taste of Labatt's Blue is winning more and more new friends all across Canada. Make friends with Labatt's Blue yourself. It's a good friend to have, a true blue friend.
So when you're smiling, just say Labatt's Blue, the true blue lager beer. Blue, 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 Labatt's Blue.
Don Chevrier with Bernie Filoni, Tom McKee, spotter Art Darch, statistician Ron Andrews, Lansdowne Park. We get set for the second half of the third meeting this year between the Rough Riders and the Argonauts. And it's 14-0 for the Rough Riders at the half. And the big difference appears to be Russ Jackson. Certainly is Russ Jackson offensively, with total carries of 53 yards for 4 attempts. But the Rough Riders have done a far better defensive job on the Argonauts than has been the case with Toronto. They have reached Wilkinson, the starting quarterback, 4 times for losses of 43 yards, 8 efforts to pass, and they have picked up 3 interceptions, 2 against Wilkinson and 1 against Frank Cosentino. And those interceptions by Jerry Campbell principally were the ones that set the Rough Riders up into scoring range. And they capitalized on the 2 of them for 14 points. The advantage they enjoy right now as Tom Johansson, number 12, readies himself for the kickoff to launch the second half. The rain has not returned. And that field is standing up pretty well throughout the first half. About 45 degrees now in Ottawa. Very slight wind factor, which in this quarter, from 5 to 10 miles an hour, will favor the Argonauts. Gene Atkins goes down under a first tackle from Jim Tomlin at the 17-yard line. A 14-yard return by Margene Atkins. In the West today, Edmonton plays in Calgary as that battle for third place continues out there. Hamilton goes to Montreal tomorrow, BC to Winnipeg in the West tomorrow. The fake was to Walton, and the handoff to Jim Mankins, number 16. Tackled by Dye and Vanoy at the 23-yard line. Hold them to a gain of 6. They'll be 2nd and 4. Tucker, 26 left. With Atkins. For Whit Tucker, no good. Ron Oren, 17 defending at the 45-yard line, and the Rough Riders will be 3rd and 4. It's the attendance just announced, 27,115. Capacity at Lansdowne Park. Mike Eben under tackles from Danny Deaver. Roger Perdrix down to the 49-yard line. Punt travel only 27. Argonauts with their hands in the ball for the first time in this half.
And Frank Cosentino is starting this half at quarterback.
Sends Thorpe and Taylor right. Number 30, Dickie Moore, a marker was thrown indicating offside against Ottawa on the far side of the field. Moore got to the 43-yard line for 6.
Now, Dickie Moore seems to be in pretty good condition. Bernie, you don't suppose Leo Cahill was trying to throw some false self-confidence into the Ottawa Rough Riders, do you?
These coaches, you know, sometimes they come out with some very strange statements. They say a fellow is not fit, he hasn't been able to work out, but he looks pretty good down.
First signal was offside Ottawa. It's offside Toronto, as we see. Hudspeth on the right side, getting off early. I think they rule that ball was thrown by Cosentino across the line of scrimmage and will be ruled incomplete accordingly. With pressure against you, it's awfully tough to know where you are when you've got to release it on a split second, and Cosentino traveled about 5 yards. And there's Harry Ross with the indication that he was across the line when he threw.
You know, it's hard for the quarterback when he's running around back there to really keep track of where the line of scrimmage is. And I think that Cosentino felt that he was behind the line of scrimmage, or at least right close to it, or he wouldn't have thrown the ball.
So it's back to the 54. The Argonauts are second and 15. They trail Ottawa 14-0, all the scoring in the final 2 minutes of the second quarter. Thorpe. Cannot get away from Ken Lehman, but he is very close to a first down at the Ottawa 39-yard line. Had he beaten Lehman, he might have gone all the way on that play. That spotting of the ball is very important right now in terms of a first down. Danny Nicolak, the Argonaut captain, comes over to look.
That was a fine play by Thorpe. And the quarterback is in trouble. Come back and help him out. And he was coming back as that ball was thrown in the air, and makes a fine play out of it also.
This is a key game for the Toronto Argonauts. They must win this one if they ever hope to get first place in the Eastern Conference. Let's check this. It is. It is a first down. If the Argos should win this game, of course, Ottawa could conceivably end up in a tie with Toronto, but they would win the championship because they would have the better average on the season play.
So Thorpe breaking away from Giardino and then doubling around gets a first down at the 39-yard line. Thorpe and Taylor both go right. Simon has the better part of 5 yards at the 34. Jerry Campbell and Marshall Shirk, the tacklers for the Rough Riders. This is about the closest the Argonauts have come to the Ottawa end zone, apart from that pass intercepted by Van Berkelio in the end zone in the first quarter. Profit has the ball knocked away by Gene Gaines.
Cosentino took just a little bit too long to throw that ball because he had his man open, and Gene Gaines came back and had time to knock the ball down.
It is 3rd and 5 now from the 34. Gene Gaines broke up that last play, and Tom Johansson from the 42-yard line, angle left, will attempt a field goal. It is wide, and Barry Ardern will concede the single point. Johansson certainly has the distance on almost every attempt from inside the 45 or 50. That time he was a little bit off the mark to the left. And the Argonauts come away with only a point, trailing now 14-1, with 11:18 remaining in this third quarter. We have a timeout with 11:18 left to play in the third quarter. The score, Ottawa 14 and Toronto 1.
When you're smiling, say Labatt's Blue, the beer that smiles with you. It's the true one, brewed for you one, the lager that's true blue.
Next time you order,
Next time say Labatt's Blue.
it's the lager
Taste that is true. So when you're smiling, say Labatt's Blue, the true blue lager beer. Smiling, say Labatt's Blue, the true blue lager beer. Blue, 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 Labatt's Blue.
So as we sit here in the third quarter, this is developing into quite a coach's game, and Frank Clare, more excited than possibly I've seen him all season.
First down, the 25-yard line. Super catch by Margene Adkins against Jimmy Dye at the 40 for a first down.
Margene Adkins always finding that open spot and likes to catch a ball at its highest point, and watch him on this particular play. Jimmy Dye knocks him out of bounds.
$14-1 is the score. It's a 14-yard game. Walk. That's by big Vernon Van Oy, number 65. Picked up 5 yards to the 44. Second and 5 to come. Argonaut defense getting signals straight for the second down call. Tucker comes right. He's covered by Tomlin. Adkins covered by Dye on the opposite side. Russ Jackson again completely confused the Argonaut defense.
Jackson comes out there and he sees this right away. He sees that Jimmy Dye's backing off with Adkins, and of course there goes Jackson with a wide open field. He knows he can't make it all the way, so he steps out of bounds to avoid that big bump. 37 yards.
The ball at the 30, first down, Rough Riders. Jackson has carried for 90 yards today. Stewart. And Stewart's less than half a yard away from a first down. Jackson is almost impossible to contain. They had him boxed in, Bernie. He still got that break. Quick release away.
There's a broken play turned into a good play. It was a mix-up in the backfield. Stewart ran into Walton, and finally Jackson turned the wrong way, jumped around himself, and found Stewart standing over there, threw it to him, and Stewart comes up with the big play.
That is a first down at the 15-yard line. Van Oy finally Floyd gets to Jackson. I guess when you're the height Russ Jackson is and you have Van Noy coming at you, it's like timber, you know, a big tree falling on you.
There's Margin Atkins, number 73. And you can see he's open. But Jackson just couldn't get away from Van Noy.
The loss was 6 yards back to the 21. The Riders are 2nd and 16 now. Atkins and Walton move wide left. And the play is whistled down. Too long and getting the ball into play. Delay of game is the indication against the Rough Riders.
That's a play we were talking about just the other night, Don, and all probability, there's a good chance that will be lengthened. The time will be lengthened for next season.
Most officials agree across the CFL that 25 seconds as opposed to 20 would be a more reasonable length of time in view of the checkoffs, the automatics the quarterbacks like to use now at the line of scrimmage. Tucker in the end zone under good coverage was waiting for it, but the ball never arrived. Now a flag has been thrown back in the end zone.
There's Tucker on this particular pass play that the ball hit the goalpost. And let's watch Tucker. He's kind of upset.
Tucker a little upset by it all, and the feeling he's responsible for the infraction against the Ottawa Rough Riders. Took 2 shots at Argonaut defenders. Edler in the end zone, and then one upfield at the 5 as he ran back following the play. Unnecessary roughness. So the Riders, who were as close as the 15 with the first down, are now 3rd down outside the 40 at the 41. With 36 yards to go. Here's Whit Tucker thinking about it all now.
Very cranky on that last play.
Sternberg with a bit of a juggling act at the 9-yard line will give the Argonauts the first down there. 34 yards, the length of the punt. So the Rough Riders, with a great scoring chance, see it go down the drain as the Argonauts remain within 13 points, trailing 14-1, but they have a long way to go. From the 9, first down. Argentina underthrowing Bobby Taylor. Argentino came on in relief of Tom Wilkinson in the second quarter and has stayed on to continue at quarterback until this point. 7:30 remaining in the third quarter. Wilkinson has had shoulder problems, rib problems off and on the past 5 or 6 games, and many feel that he's not right physically. Southern defending again for the Ottawa Rough Riders, and it runs to 3rd down. Of course, injuries, especially to key people like quarterbacks, are well concealed. Always difficult exactly to find out the condition of a player. Although when you see game in, game out that he is having difficulty and gives way to a backup quarterback, the indication is certainly strong that something is amiss.
Frank Cosentino has just written a book called Canadian Football. In it, he points out that in the early days, you could gain a first down by either gaining 10 yards or losing 20. I hope he doesn't take that too literally.
Riders almost did that in the last sequence. Cooper has second thoughts about a lateral to Ardern and hangs on at the 54, tackled by Mel Prophet, number 75. Punt traveled 48 yards, and that is the best punt today for Dick Thornton.
You know, Don, that book also points out a couple of other things. There's one game that was reported in the Toronto Globe and Mail on November 14th in 1921. And in the statistics, they include, of course, the usual kicks, return kicks, and number of open field fumbles recovered and so on, including injuries. McGill had 10, Queen 16.
Sounds like quite a game. Harrington had a chance for the interception, but turned just at the last moment. It is incomplete. Second down at 10. Margene Atkins was the target. There's Mel Prophet, the Argonauts' outstanding offensive end. He's as valuable as a blocker, if not more so, than as a pass receiver. He leads much of the wide running on the strong side for the Argonauts, with Danny Nicolak the tackle. Safety blitz from Dick Thornton brought Russ Jackson down, and Thornton got in there very quickly. Jackson almost on the blind side, didn't see him.
It's a cross-up, and here's Dick Thornton, 25, breaking through there to get a hold of Jackson. That's tough from the, you can't see that backside corner coming in, and there's nothing you can do about that but hold the ball.
It's the third time the Argonaut defenders have been able to get to Jackson. Third down and more than 20 to go. Mike Evans down at the 21-yard line. Took the ball down near the 22, given the forward point of advance. Tom Pullen, number 71, dropped him after a 42-yard punt by Bill Van Berkville. 5 minutes and 34 seconds remain in this third quarter. It is 14-1 Rough Riders.
5 of the last 6 Toronto home games have been complete sellouts at the CNE Stadium, and Gord Walker the team tells us that tickets are available starting next week. Contact the office of the CNE Stadium.
To Simons. Cosentino with some great running on his part, and then tiring seeing a faster man in Simons lateraling to him.
When's the last time you saw this, Bernie?
Cosentino, last time I saw Frank do this was about 6 years ago in Hamilton. And he ran all over the field and finally kept the ball himself. But here, he finds Simons and even throws a block on Gaines to let Simons get away. Pick up some very valuable yardage on that play.
Total of 37 yards, and from the 51 of Ottawa, they have a first down.
Even that block was worth an extra 8 yards.
Thorpe. Stopped cold at the 48 after a pickup of 3. Well, I guess Cosentino has been watching the success Russ Jackson's enjoyed coming up in there, but let's open it up and see what happens. Gene Gaines made the last tackle on Thorpe. So from the 48-yard line, 2nd and 7 with 4 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Cosentino again. Billy Joe Booth pushing him out at the 44-yard line. That time he is shy by 3 of the first down. More like 3.5. So Thornton will come in with the punting team. 20-yard earn, 23 Cooper back at the 10. Now they drop back to the 5 for Thornton. Another good kick. Cooper will make it a second single point in this game for the Argonauts.
And Thornton with the roll and the fly, 68 yards. 48 the last time, and now 68, and Dick Thornton is emerging as an outstanding punter, and perhaps Dave Mann won't have to worry about coming out of retirement for a while yet. (14-2) now the score. Just over 3 minutes until three-quarter time. First down, Ottawa at the 25. Stewart, Balasuk gets a piece. Martin follows up. The gain is going to be 3 to 4 yards. There's a timeout with 2:53 to play in the third quarter. The score is Ottawa 14 and Toronto 2.
When you're smiling, say the bats blue, the beer that smiles with you. It's the true one, good for you one, the lager that's true blue. Next time you order, just say Labatt's Blue, 'cause it's the lager with the taste that is true. So when you're smiling, just say Labatt's Blue, the true blue lager beer. So when you're smiling, just say Labatt's Blue, the true blue lager beer. Blue, 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 Labatt's Blue.
Frank Clare and Bob Ward, two-thirds of the Ottawa coaching staff. Jack Gana upstairs in the spotter's booth. The Rough Riders have a 12-point lead, 14-2 with 2:44 now to play in the third quarter, and they come out 2nd and 6 at the 29. Mankin. Scramble for the ball. Mankins appears to have possession at the 52-yard line. Pete Martin in the wrestling match for possession and the tackle on Jim Mankin. Got 23 on the play to the 51. The Rough Riders have room to operate now near center field.
Sidelines are yours, Ty. Give her room. Sidelines.
Walton, Luster has a piece of them, and then the follow-up tackle at the 54. It'll be a 2-yard gain the hard way for Andy Walton.
Luster may have been a little bit mad the last time on the Mankins reception and run. Luster had him for probably about a 6 or 7 yard gain, but Mankins just ran over Luster, and it looked like he was trying to get back at somebody there.
Second down, about 7 to go, a minute and 35 now to play in the third quarter. 14-2 Ottawa. That pass thrown low, fortunately for Russ Jackson, because Lester was within, by a measure of 10 yards, the closest man to the ball. So it's third down and 7. Sternberg and Eben back to the 15-yard line for Van Berkeley's punt. That's a towering kick. Sternberg at the 5. Brings it back 11 yards at the 16-yard line. Dragons and Deaver on the tackle, but we have a flag back downfield. Kick traveled 51 yards, so both Van Berkeley and Thornton excelling in the kicking department this afternoon, especially in the second half. Illegal procedure against the Ottawa Rough Riders, and in view of the length of that kick, 51 yards, the Argonauts are inclined to accept the penalty.
the ball down between the 49 and the 50. Harry Ross with the signal. And Berkeley will punt again. Less than a minute left now in the third quarter, 50 seconds. Even at the 29-yard line as the Argonaut decision paid off for them. The kick not nearly as far, 35 yards opposed to 51. So from the 29-yard line, the Argonauts start out with 37 seconds in the third quarter remaining with a first down.
In the Eastern Conference this weekend, Hamilton plays at Montreal tomorrow. Some of the Hamilton coaching staff up here scouting these two teams. Of course, Ottawa play in Hamilton next Saturday afternoon, and we'll be there Eastern Standard Time at 2 o'clock with all the color action for you.
Thorpe taken down at the 44-yard line by his opposite number, Barry Ardern, number 20. 15-yard gain gives Toronto a first down at the 44. 19 seconds left now in the third quarter. Thorpe goes right with Taylor, and Simons is split left. Ball tipped and incomplete. Gaines and Campbell trying to follow up for the interception. Marshall Shirk was the deflector for the Rough Riders. 2nd and 10 now from the 44. 5 seconds left. Even is coming in for Thorpe again as the communications line between Coach Cahill and his quarterback, Frank Cosentino. Mickey Moore's come out for even, and Thorpe stays in. Cosentino away back. Even has a first down just across center field. As again, the Argonauts with a weird play. Ad-lib all the way by Cosentino. Get first down yardage, Bernie.
Cosentino had that habit when he was a young quarterback, and he still has it.
At the end of the third quarter, then, the score is Ottawa 14 and Toronto 2. We'll have more CFL action after this message.
Jacques Cousteau and his crew meet many exciting creatures in their travels and find the interesting and informative artifacts of earlier days. Artifacts that have lain under many fathoms of water for centuries. Some are still usable, even valuable. But others, well... The men of the research vessel Calypso regularly enter the unfamiliar and inhospitable undersea world, gathering information that will hopefully aid mankind in conquering this last unknown frontier on Earth.
Watch The Desert Whales on Jacques Cousteau Sunday night.
The Ottawa fullback, Jim Mankins. Bernie, rather amusing in a way that almost every play, Leo Cahill's sending something in, but surely he can't be sending that in.
Probably sending a play in, but, you know, you don't have those plays written in the play books. They're just scramble type of patterns, and you're in trouble. Your main pass or your main pattern breaks down, so you have to sort of improvise on the field, and sometimes they come out very well.
Toronto will first down to the 54-yard line of the Rough Riders. Taylor, first down catch at the 34-yard line. And Berkeley, defending, made the tackle.
He Taylor, not getting many thrown his way all day, gets open, and Cosentino hits him. It's hit hard by Bill Van Berkeley, number 15, almost like with a club handle.
20-yard gain. The Argonauts in total offense have 252 yards to 196. Or Ottawa has 232 now to a total of 226 for the Toronto Argonauts. Very close in total yardage. Simons. Gets about 5 yards near the 30. And Joyner, the defensive end, containing Bill Simons. It is 14-2 for the Rough Riders. We are in the second minute of play in the fourth quarter. Roger Scales comes back onto the offensive line. Liebrock had been in the previous plays for Toronto. Taylor, at the 3-yard line, has first and touchdown to go. He just kept that 1 foot in bounds as the ball arrived.
That was a blitz by the Rough Riders. Campbell was blitzing from the outside, got hung up on the inside. Cosentino was able to scramble again, and there again, Don, is that ad-lib play that comes out smelling very well.
Well, it's definitely unsettling, that defense of the Ottawa Rough Riders, which had not been the case in the first half with the set kind of offense the Argonauts were going with. They are first and touchdown to go at the Ottawa 3. Bill Simons near the 1-yard line.
1,200 fans up here from Toronto sounds more like 12,000 as they finally realize that they could be in contention in this ball game. And those 2 single points for Toronto certainly look big right now.
12 minutes and 35 seconds to play, so there certainly is enough time, and we have come to expect almost anything from these two teams. Cosentino keeping, but not getting over the line. And the ball goes back to the 1-yard line with third down coming up. Without a doubt, the most important play of this game about to unfold.